Archives depend critically on context. A seemingly insignificant or meaningless piece of paper can take on huge significance if we can understand the circumstances and factors that led to its creation. And this Stories from Storage is a great example of that. It's about this little scrap of paper from the UHEC archives. It's a receipt for the remittance of money from a certain Oleksiy Balabas in Prague. On June 21, 1933, he sent 94 Czech korunas through the Czech-Russian Association in Prague for mutual credit purchase and sale, and the money was intended for someone or something called Torgsyn. As you might have suspected, there is far more to this little piece of paper than first meets the eye. So who was this Oleksiy Balabas person? Well, if you've been following our Stories from Storage, you already know about him. He was a descendant of Ukrainians who had migrated to the Kuban region of the Northern Caucasus in the late 1700s. After being expelled from his homeland by Russian ultranationalists in 1919, he, his wife, and his daughter had made their way through Constantinople to Prague. In Prague, he reestablished contact with relatives back in Kuban, including with his sister Masha, who was then living in the city of Krasnodar. We usually think of the Holodomor as mainly affecting the Ukrainian countryside. And that's true. The consequences of the Holodomor there were unimaginably catastrophic. Demographers estimate that something like 20 to 30% of Ukrainian villagers died in 1932 and 1933. But cities didn't get off scot-free. Food was rationed, but the rations were pretty limited, and lots of people couldn't even get a ration card. The result was that even in the cities, there was hunger and hunger-related deaths. In a letter dated June 8, 1933, Oleksiy's sister describes the difficulties that she and her family faced in getting enough food.
Alyoshenka, I'm just at a loss. I don't know how to convey everything to you so that you can at least learn a little bit about our existence. I'll only tell you, dear brother, that we live in extreme need, and no one else can help us because almost everyone else lives the same way. I think I wrote to you that I work at a hospital in a children's clinic and receive a salary of 40 rubles a month. For that money, you can buy 2.5 kilos of cornbread. I also get a ration of 400 grams of bread, but it's not bread, but more like thick corn porridge. Alyoshenka, I think about this so often, although you may condemn me for this, but if you were in my place, you would say the same thing. That thing I used to be so afraid of, I couldn't even imagine it, but now I wish for it. I'm so sorry that our mother has survived to the present circumstances. How lucky are those who have died. If she wasn't around, then I would not see her suffering so much, and I would not be afraid to die myself.
For those who had the means, flour, bread, and other products could be purchased at so-called commercial food stores. And people who had gold and other valuables could buy food at what was called a torgsyn. Torgsyn is an acronym of the Russian phrase "торговля с иностранцами," or trade with foreigners. Initially, they were stores that sold goods to foreign delegations, tourists, sailors, or the various Western engineers that Stalin had imported during his first 5-year plan. But then in January 1932, Torgsyn stores started accepting payments not just from foreigners, but from any Soviet citizen. They could purchase scarce goods like flour and other foods in exchange for gold, jewelry, or hard currency. Of course, the prices were often ridiculously inflated, and the exchange rates were very bad. After all, the purpose was to maximally extract whatever valuables people might still have after all of the expropriations of the late 1920s and early 30s. If they didn't have gold or jewelry, the Torgsyn system incentivized relatives who might be living abroad to remit hard currency.
And now, Alyosha, I'm writing to you if you can send us money. There's this store where they have everything short of bird's milk. It's called the Torgsyn. But they only sell things for gold and foreign money. Many people survive only on food from the Torgsen. Lisa had a gold tooth pulled out and took it to buy flour, but we don't have anything that we can sell.
That is exactly what Oleksiy did. He remitted 94 korunas to the Torgsin, and this is the actual receipt that he was given documenting that transaction. It's a little hard to estimate how much this would be in today's money. In 1933, 94 korunas would have purchased about 4.5 grams of gold, which now would be worth something in the neighborhood of $300. But maybe that's not an appropriate comparison. The money did reach his sister, though, as she writes in a letter dated July 31st.
Alyoshenka, dear one, we finally received the money you sent. I received it on July 29th, 1933, and that very day I got 20 kilograms of flour, not white, of course. Oh, dear Alyoshenka, Zhenya, and little Lilia, you can't imagine how much joy there was in the whole house. Zhenya hit the roof when he saw vareniki on the table. We cooked vareniki with cherries that same day. It's been exactly 2 years since we've seen anything made of dough.
It's somewhat astounding that these letters actually survived and made it through the Soviet postal censorship regime. It's also an excellent example of why archivists care so much about the context of archival items. And that's why we sometimes go to some lengths to maintain the original order of documents and files in a collection. It was in part because Balabas had filed this remittance receipt together with the letters from his sister that we were able to make the connection and to tell the remarkable story of this seemingly unremarkable piece of paper.